I have been in a romantic relationship with Ryan for 8 years, and whenever I brought up marriage, he always said to wait longer. It was not until my 28th birthday party that friends playfully urged Ryan to marry me. He lowered his gaze in silence, and as I watched him, my heart gradually cooled, leading me to finally decide to let go. Amid the friends' teasing, Ryan was reluctant to respond. A phone call came to his rescue, and though I do not know what was said, his expression shifted, and he hurriedly said, "Ella, I'll make up for your birthday gift later, I have an urgent matter now," before turning and leaving swiftly. He completely disregarded the marriage matter raised by friends, offering no explanation, leaving me alone to face the group awkwardly as they gazed at me with sympathy. My emotions were a complex mix. To mitigate the awkwardness, I forced a faint smile and excused him by saying, "Perhaps there's a real emergency at the company," a statement meant for the friends and to console my increasingly cold heart, sparing myself further embarrassment. After a while, Ryan sent me a message, "Ella, Chloe has sprained her foot and is in the hospital with no one to care for her. I need to stay with her tonight, so I won't be back." I lost count of how many times Ryan had abandoned me for Chloe. Through repeated disappointments, my heart had grown numb with pain, and instead of calling to confront him as before, I simply replied with a calm okay. Subsequently, I texted my mom, "Mom, I agree to the blind date," and she called back promptly, saying, "Ella, you've finally come around. Tomorrow noon at the lakeside restaurant, both families will dine together. Don't stand us up," to which I readily agreed, "Okay." My mother seemed to sense something unusual and cautiously asked, "Ella, you and Ryan," I interjected, replying, "It's already impossible," and she sighed without further comment. The birthday party concluded in a slightly awkward atmosphere. Sitting in the car, I sent Ryan a message I had mentally rehearsed countless times. "Thank you for 8 years of companionship. Today, we part amicably." This was the first time in 8 years I proposed a breakup. During that period, Ryan had suggested it numerous times, especially after Chloe's return, whenever I grew jealous and upset, yet I had never consented. This time, I resolved to let go and allow them to be together. As for the gift he mentioned, I no longer held any expectations, given his repeated broken promises. Chloe is the adopted daughter of the Xia family, making her Ryan's sister. Years ago, Ryan's mother, Grace, noticed Chloe's unusual affection for him and sent her abroad. 10 years passed until half a year ago when Grace passed away, enabling Chloe to return to the country, her first action being to seek out Ryan. That day, I suffered an appendicitis attack, and Ryan accompanied me to the hospital. In the waiting area, I was in such pain I couldn't stand straight, when Ryan suddenly received a call, becoming ecstatic and exclaiming, "Chloe, you're back," with a voice altered by joy. At that moment, he hastily said, "Ella, register yourself, I'm going to the airport to pick up Chloe," and left quickly without regard for my condition. I wanted to call him back but lacked the strength to speak due to the pain. Eventually, as my consciousness faded, a kind stranger summoned a nurse, allowing me to be admitted to a ward. Afterwards, I confronted him, and he explained, "Ella, Chloe was diagnosed with severe depression abroad and has suicidal tendencies, requiring special care. She just returned and is unfamiliar with the place, so I had to go," adding, "You were already in the hospital and could ask a nurse for help," a flawed reasoning that, given my deep love for him, I was persuaded by at the time. I initially believed he and Chloe would keep it brief with no further developments and that he would return to me, but unexpectedly, their involvement intensified thereafter. Ryan was frequently summoned by Chloe, reducing our time together. Sometimes he didn't return at night, offering various excuses initially, though later he ceased bothering to justify his absences. Within the mere 3 months since Chloe's return, I met Ryan fewer than 10 times. He and Chloe were nearly inseparable, constantly together, which I found intolerable. That day, I went to intercept him downstairs at his company, despite his prior explicit request not to visit, as it negatively impacted him. Yet, desperate to see him, I went anyway. Sitting in the lobby's waiting area, I saw him emerge with his colleagues, chatting and laughing, with Chloe among them. His colleagues teased, "Ryan, your girlfriend is so thoughtful, delivering lunch every noon and picking you up after work. We're envious of such a great girlfriend." Ryan beamed with happiness, his gaze toward Chloe brimming with affection, saying, "Indeed, having a girlfriend like Chloe is my fortune." Chloe nestled closer into Ryan's embrace, saying, "Having a boyfriend like Ryan is my fortune too," both immersed in their mutual sweetness, oblivious to me in the corner, my face ashen with dismay. For a fleeting moment, I wanted to charge forward and demand, "If Chloe is your girlfriend, then what am I?" But ultimately, I opted for silence. I followed Ryan, Chloe, and his group of colleagues to their reserved restaurant, witnessing them enter a private room. Hiding in the adjacent room, I overheard them say, celebrating the successful 10-year romantic journey of Ryan and Miss Chloe. 10 years? Amid their chorus of congratulations, my heart ached as if stabbed. Sitting in the neighboring room, I dialed Ryan's phone with trembling fingers, humbly asking, "Ryan, in your heart, what is our relationship?" He paused briefly on the call, then said with slight irritation, "Ella, don't make a fuss, I'm dining with colleagues. I'll talk to you later," hanging up before I could respond further. That evening, Ryan, absent from home for so long, unexpectedly returned. My heart brimmed with anger, ready for a confrontation, yet his single sentence acted like a soothing breeze, instantly quelling my fury. He said, "Ella, I know you've coveted this necklace for a long time, it's yours," presenting the necklace I had long admired and placing it around my neck himself. In that instant, I felt the warmth of his fingertips and a deep-seated care, convincing me he still valued me, or at least understood my preferences. To preserve this rare harmony, I chose silence, refraining from mentioning what I had seen at his company or the so-called dinner with colleagues, assuring myself there might still be a chance to mend things. Thereafter, Ryan did return home more often, yet he was still periodically called away by Chloe for various reasons: burst pipes, computer failures, fear of walking alone at night, trivial matters that pierced my heart like invisible thorns. Until my birthday party, when I noticed from the moment Ryan entered that he was distracted and inattentive, not even having prepared a gift for me. It was as if he was unaware it was my birthday. Only when the cake arrived did he seem to awaken, saying "Happy birthday," in a perfunctory manner. Friends teased, asking if he had a surprise for me, but he stammered, producing nothing. When asked when he would marry me, he remained speechless, awkwardly silent, until Chloe's call came, prompting him to leave abruptly without explanation, and I finally gave up hope. The day after my birthday party, I accepted a blind date arranged by my family with Jason, a childhood neighbor. In my memory, he was always runny-nosed and grubby, leading me on adventures, climbing trees for bird eggs, fishing in the river, those carefree childhood days we shared. Later, due to his father's job transfer, his family moved to distant Kyoto, and we lost touch. Unexpectedly, years later, he had a matchmaker approach my parents to propose a blind date. At the lakeside restaurant, we met. After many years, Jason had shed his childishness, standing tall with sharp features and a heroic air, dressed in a well-tailored suit that exuded maturity and stability. Though his face was stern, a trace of gentleness shone through his eyes, particularly when they rested on me, making me shy away from his gaze as an inexplicable flutter stirred within me. During our conversation, I learned he had followed his father's path into the military at a young age, a career that forged his will and imbued him with an indescribable aura. After retiring, he joined a government agency, now working at a confidential unit in Kyoto. The blind date was a delight for both parties and their parents. We discussed our pasts, shared growth experiences, and spoke of future aspirations, agreeing in a cheerful atmosphere to an engagement date 1 month hence. That night, I returned to Ryan's house to move my belongings. Ryan and Chloe were there, with Chloe snacking on the sofa while Ryan cooked for her in the kitchen. Previously, when with me, Ryan never cooked, deeming it a woman's task. Later, I saw photos on Chloe's secondary Facebook account of him cooking for her, revealing that Ryan indeed knew how to cook. On that Facebook post, Chloe wrote, "Brother can't bear me cooking," saying girls who inhale too much cooking fumes will smell bad. I found it laughable. He spared his Chloe from cooking but not me. The smelling bad clearly a veiled jab at me. Over the years, I had pampered Ryan like a young master, yet he secretly disdained me. Still, I too am the cherished treasure of my parents. Seeing me return, Chloe warmly greeted, "Ella, you're here? Ryan is making my favorite salt-baked shrimp, try some later, his cooking is great, I've loved it since childhood," her words dripping with pride and boastfulness. Ryan, busy in the kitchen, emerged upon hearing us. Seeing me, his eyes briefly averted, forcing a smile. Ella, you're back, I thought I wasn't coming back, right? I finished for him, and he stammered, speechless. Observing him in an apron, visibly embarrassed, I found it somewhat comical. My once idolized man was merely ordinary, a realization that struck me profoundly at that moment. I expected him to explain his departure from my birthday party or ask why I suggested breaking up, but he did neither. Instead, concerned I'd target Chloe, he defended her, saying, Ella, Chloe injured her leg, so I brought her here to care for her. When I'm away, please help look after her too. Also, the master bedroom bed is softer, so let her sleep there. You take the guest room, he added, suppressing sarcasm. I asked, and you? Perhaps because Chloe was staying, Ryan deliberately distanced himself, even unwilling to share a bed with me, saying, I'll sleep in the living room. I remained silent for a while before asking, didn't you see the message I sent you? Not waiting for Ryan to reply. Chloe rose slowly from the sofa, saying, Ella, please don't argue with Ryan anymore, okay? Blame me if you must. I suddenly sprained my foot. I have no other family here, only Ryan, so I had no choice but to ask him to come to the hospital. As Chloe spoke, her eyes reddened, her voice laden with sorrow and grievance. Seeing this, Ryan promptly went to her, gently embracing her shoulder and soothingly saying, Chloe, your sprained foot naturally requires care, I believe. He looked at me, his eyes carrying a clear warning. I believe Ella will understand. Chloe glanced at me again, a hint of triumph in her eyes. Ella, once my leg heals, I'll leave. Don't threaten Ryan with a breakup, he hates threats, and if he ends it in anger, you'll blame me again. Seeing Chloe weep weakly, Ryan glared at me angrily, his tone stern. Ella, say something. Are you blaming Chloe? You're really too immature. Chloe injured her leg, so it's only natural I care for her. I don't know why you're so prone to jealousy, he said, his expression full of impatience, continuing to reproach me. Enough, stop being emotional. If there's nothing else, rest in the guest room, your things are all packed and placed there. He clearly didn't want to see me anymore. I had no desire to argue further. Over the 6 months since Chloe's return, we'd quarreled too often, each dispute eroding the scant affection left between us. I said calmly, no need. You don't have to sleep on the sofa, I'll move out. Hearing this, Ryan merely furrowed his brow slightly, a fleeting indifference in his eyes, yet he offered no words to retain me. His silence cut into my heart like an invisible blade. Fortunately, Ryan had already packed my belongings in the guest room, saving me considerable effort. I contacted a moving company that night and completely moved out of his house. He watched me move my things out box by box without intervening or even sparing me a glance, preoccupied with ensuring the salt-baked shrimp didn't cool, meticulously peeling and deveining them for Chloe at the table. This scene was glaringly painful and bitterly ironic to me. In 8 years, he had never done such a thing for me, yet now he was so attentive and considerate for another woman. After moving everything out and turning to look at the house, a wave of sorrow welled up in me. Ryan had lived here since we first met. Back then, the house was bare except for a bed. I had furnished it bit by bit, each item steeped in our memories, yet regrettably, nothing here, not even the person, belonged to me anymore. Seeing me linger, Ryan assumed I was still attached. He finally rose from Chloe's side and approached, his words cold and distant. Ella, stop making a fuss. My energy is limited, you should be sensible. Chloe's condition will take time to treat, so live elsewhere for a while and return when she's better, he said. I didn't reply. The birthday gift he promised yesterday remained unfulfilled even after the second day passed, evidently forgotten. Gazing at this man I'd loved for 8 years, my heart felt no stir, the former love and warmth now as still as a deep pool. Ryan, I wish you happiness, I said faintly, lifting my last suitcase and walking away without looking back. My words inexplicably tightened his heart, as if something was lost in an instant, yet he still didn't try to stop me, swiftly closing the door after I left, shutting me out entirely. In the car, I received a message from Chloe's secondary account. Ryan saw your breakup text last night. He finds you annoying and says not to make unreasonable trouble. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, that house was originally bought for me by Ryan. I was sent abroad by the old lady, and he stayed there to remember me, unwilling to move out. Thanks for decorating it for me, but I don't like that style. Ryan has promised to tear it all down and redecorate, I read on my phone, yet my heart remained oddly calm. I neither replied nor grew angry, simply deleting her as a friend in silence. I returned home and began diligently preparing for my engagement to Jason, striving for perfection in every detail. I next saw Ryan when I went to the bridal shop to try on wedding dresses. Upon entering, I spotted Ryan and Chloe there too, trying on dresses, suggesting an impending celebration. Ryan was tenderly adjusting Chloe's skirt hem, his eyes full of affection, his movements exceptionally gentle, as if handling a priceless artwork. "Chloe, you look truly beautiful in a wedding dress," Ryan sincerely praised. Chloe stood before the mirror, admiring her beauty, her face radiant with happiness. She seemed to notice me at the door, saying to Ryan, "Ryan, when will the wedding ring you designed for me be ready?" Words that suddenly pierced my heart. A ring designed by Ryan? Though not a professional jeweler, Ryan, an architectural designer, had once promised me in a moment of affection that he'd design our wedding ring. Now, he bestowed that honor on another, and despite no longer loving him, my heart still stung as if pricked by a needle. Still adjusting Chloe's skirt, unaware of me at the door, Ryan said indulgently, "Soon, in a couple of days, then we can wear the ring I designed and take wedding photos, fulfilling your dream," to which Chloe corrected, "Our shared dream," and Ryan smiled without objection. He stood up slowly, but the moment he did, he caught sight of me in the mirror, a flash of surprise crossed his eyes, and he turned sharply, calling out, "Ella." For a moment, Ryan was flustered, a hint of panic in his eyes, but he quickly composed himself, asking, "Ella, why are you here?" Before I could answer, he furrowed his brow, suspecting something. "Did you hear that Chloe and I were coming here for wedding photos and come to disrupt us again?" Disrupt? Hearing that word, I let out a self-deprecating laugh. Previously, to keep him from getting too close to Chloe, I had indeed done some wild things, which, in his view, were merely disruptions. Now it seemed I had indeed disrupted their relationship, but I wouldn't anymore. I said calmly, "I'm not interested in what you two do," prompting Ryan to ask warily, "Then why are you here?" As he spoke, he stepped in front of Chloe, as if fearing I'd suddenly lash out at her. I stayed silent, recalling how, shortly after Chloe's return, she lived alone in an apartment. Once, she claimed a man was lurking in the hallway, frightening her, and called Ryan over in the dead of night. Sensing something amiss, I went there with others. I knocked on their door. Ryan answered in a bathrobe, and before he could react, I stormed into the master bedroom, finding Chloe in lingerie, reclining seductively on the bed. Seeing me, she panicked. I stepped forward, slapped her twice, and cursed, "You wretch, how dare you seduce my boyfriend?" Ryan, rushing into the bedroom and seeing me strike Chloe, grew furious, shoving me aside forcefully to embrace his weeping foster sister, comforting her softly. He also yelled at me, "You madwoman, what's wrong with you?" Caught off guard, I crashed into the nightstand, gashing my forearm, a scar I still bear today. Regaining my senses, I was about to speak when Chloe preempted me, softlying, "Ella, don't make everyone lose face again." Prompted by her, Ryan recalled that incident, after which he faced much ridicule from friends and family, fueling his anger further. He said coldly, "Ella, on such an important day, I hope you'll be sensible and not embarrass everyone," his tone laced with threat and warning, as if signaling that he wouldn't forgive me if I caused trouble. I smiled indifferently, my heart at peace. "Relax, I won't cause trouble. I'm not here for you too." Yet Ryan, unconvinced, pressed, "Then what are you here for?" At that moment, a tall figure appeared beside me, encircling my waist. "Ella, sorry I'm late," he said, and turning to Jason, I smiled. "No, you're right on time, I arrived early." Jason gazed at me tenderly, his eyes sparkling with affection. We shared a smile, and he asked, "Are these two your friends?" I paused, then said, "Not really anymore," to which he replied, "Oh," without probing further. Then, a bridal shop assistant approached, smiling warmly. "You two must be Miss Ella and Mr. Jason, booked for wedding photos today, right?" I nodded. "Please follow me," the assistant said enthusiastically. As Jason and I had booked the premium package, I didn't glance at Ryan's reaction, simply linking arms with Jason to follow her. At that moment, Chloe's voice rang out, "Ella, to stop Ryan and me from taking wedding photos, you just grabbed some random man, Are your personal affairs always this chaotic? Her words ignited anger within me. Restraining myself, I retorted, at least he and I are both single now, unlike some who incessantly clung to someone else's boyfriend without any sense of propriety or boundaries. Chloe's face darkened instantly, but instead of confronting me, she clung to Ryan's arm. Ryan, he looked at me disapprovingly, chiding, Ella, must you be so harsh? I met his gaze, questioning, in what capacity are you reprimanding me? You should manage your own people instead of pointing fingers at others, leaving Ryan speechless with frustration. Pointing at Jason, he said, Ella, you brought this man to take wedding photos just to spite me? You're so childish, adding fiercely, I'm telling you, if you shoot photos with him, we're done forever, staring at me intensely. Ignoring him, I linked arms with Jason and told the assistant, lead the way. Ryan's face filled with disbelief, yet he didn't stop me, glaring resentfully as I left, convinced I was still causing a scene and that Jason was a hired actor. When Jason and I exited the shop, Ryan and Chloe had already gone. After that day, I heard nothing of them for a long time. Since Chloe became group admin, she removed me from our mutual friends chat, and I never requested to rejoin. I shared my engagement news only with my closest friends. Though they also knew Ryan, I'd instructed them not to divulge anything about me to him, nor did I wish to hear of him, so mutual friends ceased mentioning Ryan to me. Until the night before my engagement, Ryan messaged me, Ella, if you admit your fault and soften, I'll let you move back in. I didn't reply, cursing myself for forgetting to block him, and promptly blacklisted him. The next day, the engagement banquet proceeded as planned at the lakeside restaurant. Jason and I entered hand in hand, with relatives and friends below snapping photos to preserve the beautiful moment. As Jason and I exchanged rings, someone barged in recklessly. It was Ryan, standing at the door, peering over the guests at me, his face etched with shock and dismay, asking, Ella, are you really getting engaged to him? I found Ryan's question amusing. Wasn't it obvious? I replied with a single yes. He frowned, his voice trembling. What about our 8 years together? I didn't elaborate, saying only, ask yourself that, leaving him stunned and speechless. Uninterested in further response, I turned to my fiancé Jason, placing the ring on his finger myself. At that moment, Ryan shouted, Ella, don't. He moved to intervene, but a friend blocked him. Ryan, what are you doing? When you were cozy with Chloe, why didn't you think of Ella? Now you're playing the devoted lover. Another stood, Ryan, have some shame and stop pestering her. Ryan looked at me aggrievedly, Ella, things with Chloe aren't what you think, I can explain, please don't get engaged to him, okay? I gave him no chance to explain, saying calmly, Ryan, stop causing a scene, this only makes me dislike you more, a flicker of pain crossing his eyes, perhaps recalling how he'd often said that to me, now returned in full measure. I resigned from my job, planning to go to Kyoto with Jason for wedding preparations. Exiting the building after formalities, I encountered Ryan outside, looking haggard after a long absence, his eyes betraying fatigue and helplessness. Seeing me, he approached quickly, softly calling, Ella, and instinctively reached out, as if to grasp my fingertips and rekindle past warmth. I evaded him. In the 6 months since Chloe's return, Ryan had consistently avoided me and all contact. This sudden proximity felt oddly unfamiliar. He seemed hurt. Ella, you. I smiled. Ryan, where's your Chloe? Not with you? He lowered his head slightly. Ella, Chloe, she. I know you're upset about me being too close to her, but I truly see her only as a sister now, with no improper thoughts. I mocked. No longer? So you once did? He hastily explained, that was youthful folly. Now, you're the only one in my heart, and I smiled. Would you say that to her face? Ryan hesitated. Ella, you know Chloe has depression, I don't want to upset her. As for the wedding photos last time, it wasn't about marrying her, she just wanted to feel like a bride, and I didn't want to let her down. I ruthlessly exposed his lie. If she wants to be a bride, her future husband should fulfill that. When did it become your role as her foster brother? Or does she only want to be your bride? Ryan's eyes darted, unable to respond. Because Chloe had indeed said she wanted to be his bride, I continued, also, you couldn't bear to disappoint her, but you could me? That ring you promised to design for me, you gave to Chloe. Ella. Ryan urged desperately, I can design another for you. No need. I cut him off coldly, my fiancé will give me something better, I won't trust you again after your broken promises. Ella, Ryan tried to say more when his phone rang, glancing at the screen with a troubled look, he said, Ella, I need to take this, wait for me, then stepped away quickly, turning his back as if wary of me overhearing. But I wouldn't wait anymore. When Ryan turned back, I'd already driven off, seeing him chase a few steps in the rearview mirror before stopping helplessly. I received a text from an unknown number, brimming with accusation and provocation. Ella, what did you say to Ryan? He's been distancing himself from me these past few days, you're engaged, stay away from him. Don't cling to what you have while eyeing more. I intended to ignore her, but her words sparked my anger. I'd already relinquished that man to her, yet she dared trouble me. Did she think me an easy target? I replied, Ryan told me himself he sees you only as a sister. What a failure you are. Didn't you claim 10 years of feelings? If you're capable, keep him. Mocking her, I also ridiculed myself. My 8 years, what were they worth? Fed to the dogs, perhaps. Chloe didn't respond. Days later, Jason decided to return to Kyoto, and I joined him, revisiting H city's sites. At the city's most revered temple by the marriage stone, I suddenly recalled how Ryan and I, when he first agreed to be with me, had hung a concentric lock here together. I approached to remove it, finding that lock and pondering how to destroy it. I noticed its base bore the names Ryan, Chloe and 100 Years of Harmony, leaving me stunned. Recalling then, I'd chosen the lock, but Ryan wrote 2 names on paper for the engraver. I'd never doubted they weren't ours. After the engraving, he clutched the lock and tied it himself. I'd thought it a sign of his love. Now I realized, for 8 years, I'd been a fool. Ella, a familiar voice sounded nearby. Turning, I saw Ryan, and Chloe, who caught me holding the lock, realizing I'd seen the names, his face paling instantly. He stared blankly, at a loss for explanation, while I gave a faint smile. You two are quite the loving pair, Ryan. Chloe, reciting the engraved names. Hearing me say those names, Ryan's face grew paler. Chloe's eyes flashed with surprise. She likely didn't know that 8 years ago, Ryan came here with me but dedicated the lock to them, an irony so sharp. She stepped over, checked the lock, indeed bearing her and Ryan's names, and grew smug. Ryan, we'll grow old together, right? Ryan opened his mouth, anxious to speak, glancing at Chloe, then me, then Jason beside me. He pursed his lips, managing only, Chloe, stammering long without finishing. Ignoring him, I turned to Jason. Jason, they say this temple's locks are potent, shall we get one too? Sure, he replied, his rugged eyes softening just for me. As I linked arms with Jason to leave, Ryan called out, Ella. I turned calmly, and after his lips quivered, he uttered just 3 words, I'm sorry. A mocking smile curled my lips, but I didn't reply. To me, those words came too late. I'd found my happiness, and he was destined to be a mere passerby in my life. The day before Jason and I left H City, my friend messaged me, glee in her tone, Ella, guess what? Chloe's so-called severe depression was fake, Ryan found out, and they're fighting at the hospital now. Accompanying her message was a video showing Ryan and Chloe arguing fiercely in the hospital. Ryan appeared unhinged, his voice hysterical. Chloe, why did you lie to me? Didn't you say you had severe depression? Chloe tried to deflect. Ryan, that doctor's talking nonsense. My records are from Country M. He wouldn't understand, but Ryan cut through. Dr. Wong studied in Country M and returned. Unable to hide, Chloe cried pitifully, Ryan, do you know what my life abroad was like? I just wanted you to care for me more after returning. What's wrong with that? Ryan roared, you shouldn't have deceived me. Do you know how many times I let Ella down for you? She's engaged to someone else now, and I couldn't win her back because of you. Haven't I been good enough to you? Chloe broke down at his words, screaming, Ryan. Don't blame it all on me. You ditched Ella because you didn't love her that much. In your heart, it's me you love. The lock bears our names. Face your heart. The concentric lock. Ryan's face turned ashen. Chloe, I admit, for 2 years after you left, I couldn't let you go. When Ella pursued me, I agreed casually, then, it was you in my heart, but after 8 years with Ella, I've long seen her as my only wife. If you hadn't returned suddenly, how could Ella have left me?" Ryan closed his eyes in anguish, but Chloe pressed, unyielding, "Enough, Ryan, is admitting you love me that hard? When you were with Ella, one call from me, and you'd come, abandoning her countless times. You gave her a necklace I rejected. On her birthday, you left her for my call. Clearly, I'm the one in your heart." Hearing about the birthday, Ryan suddenly recalled something, his eyes glinting faintly, murmuring, "Right, I promised Ella I'd make up her birthday gift." He started toward the hospital exit, but Chloe grabbed him. "Ryan, her birthday was ages ago, what's the point of a gift now? She's going to Kyoto with her fiancé, don't disturb them. Let go." Ryan shook her off forcefully for the first time. Chloe fell, yelping in pain, but he didn't look back, leaving resolutely. The video ended there. My friend added, "Ella, if Ryan seeks you, don't give him a kind look," to which I replied lightly, "He won't find me, I've moved and changed my number long ago." The next day, Jason and I flew to Kyoto. Upon arrival, we dove into wedding preparations. Jason cared for me meticulously, integrating me into his social circle and introducing me to his friends personally. On holidays, he planned trips to explore every corner of Kyoto, helping me adjust swiftly to this unfamiliar city. This reminded me of my time with Ryan, when it took 3 years to accidentally appear at a dinner with his friends, finally standing before them as Ryan's girlfriend. Compared to him, Jason offered me greater security. I heard of Ryan again through my friend, who said, "Ryan's gone mad looking for you." Yet, mutual friends revealed nothing of my whereabouts, knowing only that I'd come to Kyoto. He followed, but never found me. I asked, "What about Chloe? She didn't cling to Ryan, letting him search for me crazily?" She replied, "Chloe used a child as leverage to lure him back, but Ryan's no fool. He secretly did a paternity test, it's not his." From then on, I ceased seeking news of Ryan, focusing entirely on my wedding preparations with Jason. Our wedding took place as scheduled, grand and solemn. In the wedding car en route to the venue, I glimpsed Ryan wandering the streets, forlorn, his former vibrance gone. I merely smiled faintly, heading to my groom.